Now I'd like to turn to Paul Reeves, the owner of Kershaw Models, and Martin Brettbilt, who is the builder for the build along of Paul's kit. And Martin, I'll introduce you first and let you take it from there. Thank you so much for doing this.
I guess that was my introduction. Okay.
That was your introduction, Martin.
Wow. One of the more low-key introductions I've ever had. Okay.
Well, we could have had a band, but
No. Let's put those days behind me, please. How's this? Does that look okay?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Try something different here. If I get this out of my way, it would help. There we go. So this is building the Kershaw Model Stanzex Bar and Grill. It's going to get renamed somewhere towards the end to something completely different, but it'll still be a bar and grill of some sort. This is part 2 because part 1 was the introduction some weeks ago when I showed the basic pictures of what the model builds, as well as a bunch of tools and ideas and thoughts and things that you might want to have on hand to build the kit. So we'll move on from there. Yeah, supplies and all. So let's put this thing together. It's not too terribly awful, I think, or challenging. So this is a good kit for people to get started on without it's not a major investment in effort. So we've got instructions. They're not the most detailed instructions. They give you a lot of room to wander around and get lost if you're not careful, but there's good pictures and it's a good flow of stuff. So, as I said, it doesn't hurt too much to read through the instructions. I mean, it's not going to cause you too much pain, and it's probably worth doing. I confess, I'm rather pain adverse, so I don't actually read them usually and just make it up as I go. But one of the nice things here, we've got color-coded wood strips. So when it says, in the instructions say, grab a 2x4 or a 2x12 or a 2x10, you can pick up the pile of wood, which is rubber band together, look at the color, pull out what you need, and keep going. You don't have to actually measure stuff. And if you want to do it with your scale ruler, well, by all means, measure it and have fun. But, try to trust what the builder or what the vendor gives you. It's probably right. Okay, so you want to locate, lay out all the basic walls, free them from the background, all the laser cutting parts, and identify, yep, that wall goes there. This kind of wraps around here. That looks like the back wall. That looks like the upper part in the back. There's the front. And this is probably the front step. And there should be a door that fits here on the angle. If you go back and look at the instructions, it shows a built up version of the kit. So it's just a matter of, well, let's just put all these pieces together. Well, it isn't quite that simple. There are bracing templates here on keep things from warping. And corner posts, and you can tell who's which and which one goes where. And this is the little bump out section. It's cardstock. That stuff that's on the back of your memo pad. That's basically all this is. And there's one piece missing, sadly enough. The other one like this one. Well, notes of both notepads, backs of notepads. I have a whole box of these, a cardboard box of these things. They're worth saving. So there's a quick tip for you. But save these things. You may find them useful someday, and they're good to paint on and do all kinds of fun stuff on. And they're completely disposable because you were going to throw them in the recycling bin anyhow. And, well, in my case, I throw them in the fireplace. But, they're useful. So the bracing keeps things from warping, supposed to be. I really didn't worry about that too much, I confess. I skipped the bracing because it's 16th inch thick clapboard, and I haven't really ever had any of this warp of any significance, particularly after I've anchored the ends with these pieces, which are the corner posts. So once they're attached, it's pretty stable, actually. You really don't have too much problem with that, things wandering around too much. These two here become important. And I'll say they're important because I took them back off after I glued them on, which was surgery. It took a 2 or 3 number 11 surgical scalpels to cut those away because I put those on there because it's end grain. a little bit of goo on the end grain, some CA on the other piece of wood, put it together, and it's not coming back apart, except when you take it into surgery and cut it apart. I didn't like the way this was coming out with the doorway. I didn't like the way it fit. And I thought, I think we could do something more interesting, a little more better that might fit here a little smoother. But basically, you want to put together a box. You've got 4 sides. It's a box. Put together 2 pieces, glue it together, put together the other 2 pieces, get them at right angles, 90-degree angles. I had a piece of a steel iron angled to true things up. Use a square, use a mini square, use whatever it is you like to use, a block of wood, get it square, and you can pretty much eyeball it actually in many ways. We're going to leave these posts here for now because they're not causing us any problem. We'll trim those later. But the important thing is I took this back off. You can continue on with what was there, or you can do what I did. I think it looks better, but you know, opinions are what they are, and they're worth what they are worth sometimes. Yeah, the back of the box, you've got more excess corner posts. You know, there's another piece back here. It all goes together pretty neatly. And we're going to take these off later, and we're going to trim them at an angle that matches the roof angle. And then we have to go across here with a sanding block to get a nice bevel on this so the roof fits down flat and even, and it doesn't, don't have an unsightly gap here on the sides, because that's where it'll show if you don't do that properly. Okay, the front door. Here's what I did with this front door. I took the larger corner post material. That was a bracing material, actually, I think. There's the plastic door casting. I put the door into the frame using some 10X methylene chloride directly. Just paint it together and it welds it nice and tight. You can use other glues if you like. And then I glued these pieces of wood to the back of the frame and then put a bevel on the back of them. Just eyeballed that with a piece of, oh gosh, 100 grit sandpaper stapled to a 2x4 block. It's O scale, you can use a large 2x4. It doesn't hurt too much. And then you get this to a point and test fit it, and you can get it to meet that corner opening. So I think the corner opening is one of the neat things about this kit. And it's what caught my eye, because there's other structures with corner openings I wanted to play with, and this one seemed a good way to get started on that. And I think this is actually turned out fairly well. And you drop it into place, put in the front step, and now you've got an interesting entryway with a nice pair of posts on each side that really present it rather imposingly towards the street or sidewalk, whichever you have, or whatever you plan to have on your layout where you would put this. And I think that came together fairly decent. Except there's this thing called a hole right above it. And you have to fill that. You know, and we have to fill that. And the kit provides a piece of triangular piece. I just grabbed a piece of 1/32 basswood sheet off my out of my scrap box. That's another important thing to have in your shop is a scrap box. Several of them, in fact. So I have all the scrap flat basswood stock in a scrap box. I have another tub of strip wood. I've got another tub of scribe siding and clapboard. You never know when you need a little piece of something, and it comes handy. Instead of cutting a 6-inch by 2-foot long piece, and you want a little piece like this out of it, you go and get your scrap box and yank a piece out, and save yourself the trouble of snipping a square inch out of a board foot or so. So, and you see, I've put a second floor or a roof in, or a ceiling in, or a floor, depending on which side of it is. It's a ceiling on this side. It's a floor on this side. So this actually stiffens everything up and makes sure it's square. It also points out some other odd things about this little structure that you have to kind of like turn a blind eye to. There's not much room in that second story for a full-size person. So I don't know what lives up there, maybe children, maybe dwarves. I'm not sure, you know, hobbits. I'm not quite sure what goes on up there. And you'll notice I didn't leave a stairwell for them. So they're not coming back out to get us unless they climb out the window. So we'll figure that next time. But it does block some light flow, and that's one of the things it's one of my pet peeves on structures I see on other people's layouts. You come out and look at it, and you can look right through it, look out the backside, or through the downside. You can look through it, and there's all this empty air. Just you got to have something in there to fill out the view through the structure. And that's where I'm going to stop for this week, because I'm out of gas. And I was up to 2 o'clock in the morning watching the half pipe last night, so I'm tired.
Well, Martin, I appreciate so much you doing this for us.
We got any questions? I don't know. So I'm going to stop sharing and
excuse me, Martin, just a quickie.
Yes.
What you used white glue on the corners as well? Did you have any problem with
corners?
bleed out or leakage? Or
No, I didn't use white glue on the corners.
Okay.
That's the goo CA.
Ah, okay.
The goo
Much
goes
easier
on
to control.
Well, some people will, when you say the word goo, they run away screaming because they think it all squirts out of the tube at the blink of an eye. But with a delicate hand, you can really control the flow of that. And if you have, actually, I have micro tips for using it, but I never do. It's easier just to be gentle with it. Think of it as the most volatile toothpaste tube in the planet, and squeeze gently.
Well, I found keeping acetone handy for emergencies is a big help.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for starting fires too in the neighborhood. So, okay. Anything else? Anybody? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing then.
Martin, thanks so much.
No problem. We'll catch you next week.
We will see you next week, sir. Thank you.